Aren't you too young to be working with the member of parliament? That's what they told her. Hey everyone, my name is Ashi, and you're listening to my podcast, The Questions of My 20s. Today we have Sejal Jakhmola as our guest. She's someone who has been working extensively in the domain of public policy. She has served as a government consultant. She has worked with multiple members of parliament. She has worked as the legislative researcher, drafted private member bills as well, and she has interned at the Ministry of Culture as well. She's also pursuing her passion project called Femprolog. It is a community of over 100 plus women now, and she has a LinkedIn community of more than 15,000. In this episode, we are going to deep dive into three main things. First, how do you crack government and parliamentary roles? Second thing is, how do you crack competitive government internships? And third is, how do you break into public policy as a beginner? So if you have ever wondered how can you work in the parliament or how can you be involved with the government, then this is going to be your go-to guide. Without further ado, let's dive into it.
Okay. Hi everyone, I'm Sejal. I did my bachelor's and master's in history from University of Delhi. I have worked with more than three members of parliament, both from Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. I've also interned and worked with a few ministries, and I'm very vocal about having more female voices within the policy sphere, for which I have been passionately working towards it on LinkedIn and other social media platforms as well. So yeah, Ashi, I think we can start with the podcast now.
So, the very first question that I have from you is that how can a college student break into public policy?
Right. So I'll first begin by giving a definition of public policy because you see, a lot of academicians have defined it quite differently, and even individuals interpret it in different ways. For me personally, anything and everything that covers is concerned with the public comes under the ambit of public policy. You get to make an impact on ground level and also drive change within the society. And I think when you see those tangible and intangible results materializing, it is one of the most rewarding feelings. And I feel that is what passion is all about. So, as for a college student, I believe you first do not need to target the higher echelons of governance, let's say the parliament or the ministry. You first need to build a foundation for yourself, build an understanding of the field through interning with think tanks, NGOs, because these are the agencies that work on the surface level and are driving impact and change on the ground level itself. That helps you get a clearer understanding of what is happening all around you. I mean, I have personally encountered and have had conversations with a lot of students who straight away want to intern with the parliament or the ministries. But personally, I feel that if you're so driven to bring an impact and change in the society, I feel begin with your neighborhood itself. And that gives you a better understanding of what you need to work on later on, right? So first things first, start interning with think tanks. Let's say there's, if I have to talk about student-led think tanks, there's the Indian Netizens, there's Niti Tantra. These are wonderful, wonderful organizations who give you a very, I would say, a great exposure in terms of writing research papers, understanding, in fact, having peer group discussions and conversations. I feel networking is also one of the key aspects of public policy because, as I mentioned, it is all about the public. And as long as you do not possess people skills, you will not be able to fare well in this career. Right. So you first start with the student-led think tanks and then move on to the more reputed ones. Let's say there's Center for Civil Society, then there's CPPR, CPRG. These are some of the renowned think tanks that are working within the policy sphere. So again, start first with interning with these organizations to get an idea of what this field is all about. You will be reading, writing so much again, working on a very diverse spectrum here, right? So you first start with that, and then you move on to work with the government, because then you come with a certain experience and you can pitch yourself that I possess all of these skills, and now I'm confident that I will be a good addition to your office. And even when it comes to interning with the government, I believe one should start with, let's say, within the hierarchy. So you first start at the MLA or the councillor level, because these people are very, very connected to the ground, to the roots itself. So you get a more holistic view, and then move on to work with the members of parliament. Again, I will reiterate that networking plays a very key role here, because once you intern within an MLA office, that MLA goes on to have meetings with other MLAs and, let's say, some MP. You can always accompany them in these meetings and build connections. And again, you then get an opportunity to pitch yourself as a suitable candidate to work in the member of parliament's office. So this is how I feel a roadmap should be for a college student. You first work on your foundation, then put it to use by interning and working with people who are more connected to the ground level, let's say the councillors, ward councillors, or the members of legislative assembly within your respective state, and then you move on to work with a member of parliament. So all these key areas will give you an experience which is not only diverse but will help you develop an understanding which I feel would be very beneficial to you when you go on to build a very solid career in this field. So, this is the sort of roadmap that I would suggest to college students.
Are there any live projects that people can work on? I'm aware about Samagra, if there is any like policy, like think tank like that. So are there any live projects for public policy domain? For example, there is strategy consulting and different kind of consulting. So policy consulting, something like that in that field.
Right. So, live projects are always happening, even in Niti Aayog. Um, a lot of projects keep on happening every now and then. With think tanks also, they take up a lot of these projects. You can always apply to these opportunities again when you have the requisite skills and understanding of the field, and you can obviously pitch yourself as a suitable candidate. But here's the catch: even if there isn't a live project going on, you can always create an opportunity for yourself. So let's say you are aware of some issue that is happening around you or within your vicinity. You can always, prepare a proposal or a draft and pitch that to any think tank or any agency that you feel might be willing to work on this further. So, majorly, what happens is that within the policy sphere, you do have opportunities available, but the key lies in creating opportunities for yourself as well. Because you're working with the public, you are trying to make an impact here. You cannot wait for opportunities to come to you. You have to put yourself out there and build opportunities for yourself. So, look around you, identify what are the key issues that are happening in the society. If there's any issue that is very, and you don't have to go on a, like I've been reiterating it so much here, that you don't have to go on a very broad level. I mean, see within your neighborhood only, within the constituency that you're in, if there's any issue, make a proposal, draft something, pitch it to agencies, think tanks, even your local MLA or councillor. You can always bank on these opportunities and build something for yourself. And the reason why I'm saying this is because, I mean, obviously, the opportunities that are posted by the think tanks themselves are very rewarding. But this would be something that you yourself identified and want to work on. And again, the moment you see that it has brought in a very considerable change or an impact, I think that would be a feeling of accomplishment in itself. So again, yeah, I mean, it all boils down to how you're utilizing what is available to you, as well as creating those opportunities for yourself.
So, like you mentioned that some skills. So, what are the skills that are needed if I want to work on a life project? And second, how can I get to know about these opportunities? Everybody talks about like Niti Aayog internships in some specific verticals. So, for example, if Niti Aayog we are taking, so how can we work on a live project there, and how can we get to know about that opportunity?
Right. So coming to the skill section first, there are three, four essential skills that are required of anyone who wants to enter into this field. First would be critical thinking as well as strategic thinking. Then there's analysis, how you bring all that knowledge and understanding into actionable points. Third would be your research skill. So within research, you need to also possess some sort of data analysis skills as well. Within research, you have both qualitative as well as quantitative research, right? So for that, if you do possess data analysis skills, let's say Excel, Python, all of these tools, so that would be an added advantage because you, again, when you work on a live project, there are chances that you will be working with a lot of numbers and data that comes in. So, possessing these research and data analysis skills is again essential. Fourth, I believe, would be your people skills and communication because you can be a great researcher, you can compile a lot of data points into actionable agendas, whatever. But as long as you're not able to communicate it to the stakeholders or the people who at the receiving end of this policy that you're trying to build, I think that would not be very fruitful. So, coming back to what I've been trying to like say here is that you compile a research paper, etc., etc. Policy has been created by you, but again, you need to put it across in a way that it is understandable to everyone there. You cannot expect that you have done a great research and somebody who has not been in the thick of things like you have been would be able to grasp it in a flip. So again, to put it across in a manner that is understandable is something that everyone who is trying to get into this field should work on. Coming next to the life project, how to identify those opportunities. So, firstly, with the Niti Aayog, you intern with a certain vertical. You have a program director there and somebody who is supervising your internship. I believe people who want to intern with the government or in areas like these should not solely focus on just the brand tag or the certificate that you will get at the end of the internship. I have been telling this to every single person who comes to me that okay, your certificate and that LinkedIn work experience mention is secondary. You go there and build connections. So start interacting with your program director, your supervisor. I have a friend who is still in touch with her program director, and her program director, in fact, mentioned it to her that as and when if you want to apply for a young professional position, she would be happy to give her the referral. So this is how you build connections and make it work for you. So, with respect to life projects, also, you need to build connections, interact with people at Niti Aayog, attend these conferences that are time and again organized by Niti Aayog, the seminars, events that are there. You get a how should I put it, like a very marvelous opportunity at networking with so many dignitaries and the hotshots of Niti Aayog, right? So, you interact with them, build connections, and if you're very keen on working on live projects, I mean, again, your work speaks for itself when you're working in areas like these. So your program director would be very happy to have you on board. So pitch it to them that you want to work in areas like these. And again, if there's not anything that is happening at that time, you can always pitch an opportunity for yourself that I want to work on this specific aspect or area. and how should I go about it, or if we can take this up. So I'll give you a personal example here. I had interned with the Ministry of Culture in September last year, and one of my colleagues and I decided that we want to take it further than the internship itself. So we pitched this to Niti Aayog. Now, I'm not going to disclose the vertical here, but we pitched it to Niti Aayog that this is like a project that we want to work on. And it was majorly focused on northeast of India. And we now have IIM professor, like one of IIM professor with us who's guiding us, and the vertical that we are working with, the program director there. So we created that opportunity for ourselves. They didn't come to us. We went to them that this is something that we want to work on, and like, would there be any chance that we can take this up? And once they saw our proposal and we like presented whatever we are trying to do, they were more than happy to accommodate us there. So again, these opportunities are there. You need to go out there, ask for this. Just put yourself out there. Don't be shy. Ki kya bolenge? Will I be able to crack it or not? I mean, हद से हद क्या हो जाएगा, you will receive a rejection, right? But at least you will be satisfied that I at least made an attempt to further my career or to move in a certain direction. So this is how you should go about with the life project thing. Am I missing out on something?
Just one more question on this part.
Yeah.
So, if I have not interned with Niti Aayog, suppose, and I am not how can I build connections to get on a live project? Because I believe that Niti Aayog, working on a live project or working as an intern is the same. Because kind of DU colleges might not give you the NOC. So if someone wants a shorter time period, value opportunity, so can they pitch themselves and how can they? So that was the question. And is there any specific vertical that we need to approach, or who do we approach basically? So,
Okay, so even I haven't interned with Niti Aayog, but I was able to pitch my project to them. And how I did it was majorly through LinkedIn. So I mean, what I did was I first started connecting with the young professionals there, because they are majorly your first point of contact when it comes to LinkedIn. You won't easily find the program directors or the hotshots of Niti Aayog on LinkedIn so easily. So I started connecting with the young professionals there, and I started having conversations with them. So initially, it wasn't. There's a set pattern that you need to follow when it comes to conversing with these people. You cannot go around saying, "Hi, I want to intern with Niti Aayog," because they rarely reply to those things. So you first politely introduce yourself, what you're doing, etc., etc. Maybe have a few light conversations with them about their work, how you're like inspired by them, and maybe then you ask them, like, maybe put across what you're trying to do here. So let's say there's something that you want to work on, and let's say there's some maternal health policy that you want to work on, or it's the sort of project that you work on. You pitch that to them after like 2 3 conversations, that this is something that I'm passionate about and I want to work more on this. So ask them who you can potentially connect with in this regard. And trust me, it appears so that the government people working there are a bit rigid, but that's really not the case. They are very welcoming and very accommodative. They will redirect you to the person who should be connecting with. Maybe let you know that okay, you need to go and contact the program director, etc., etc. So this is how you network and build that chain of contact for yourself to ultimately end up where you want to be. Um, Again, the sort of vertical you should be focusing on depends on the kind of project you want to work on, right? So let's say you want to do something related to the legal arena. Then you move on to the law division. There's the security vertical also. So let's say you want to do something on defense or foreign policy. So there are different verticals for different sort of projects. That depends entirely on the sort of project you are working on. So that is something you need to chalk out yourself. Um, for contacts with the program directors within a vertical, I think it is easily available on Niti Aayog's website. There's a who is who section within each vertical's page. So you can easily get the contact details from there and maybe start cold mailing to the program directors there that, this is something that I want to work on, and maybe, if we can take this forward and have a short discussion on it, have a meeting on it. So this is how you do it. Again, with cold mailing, I feel in this regard, sometimes you might not hear back from them immediately. But I think maybe, do it 3, 4 times if you're not receiving a reply, and also take a follow up later on it. So these are some of the things that you should be doing. Also, if you're going through the, like the LinkedIn networking thing, then again, with like if you've built a good rapport with the young professional there or somebody who's working within a certain vertical there, I think they can always put in a good word for you. I politely ask them that, maybe if you could give me a referral or a letter of recommendation. So all these small things really do work in your favor if you really know how to put it to good use. So yeah, I think that summarizes this whole part.
So the next question is that how can someone crack into parliamentary and government internships or roles?
Right. So, starting with the government roles, which includes your ministries and Niti Aayog, and then you also have some statutory bodies and non-constitutional bodies also who regularly hire interns. So, number one would be checking the portals and the dashboard of the ministries itself, because majority of times the opportunity is posted there and there itself. Let's say you have your Ministry of External Affairs, so they have the cohort 2 times per year. And again, all information is posted on the ministry's portal itself. Then you have Ministry of Women and Child Development, even the Statistics Ministry, the Environment Ministry. So all of these internships are opportunities are posted on the website itself. So you need to keep an eye on it, and I would suggest that there are certain set patterns to it. So uh, external affairs ministry again has like 2 cohorts in a year, and it's fixed. Like I'm not really sure about it, but you have your like the second cohort around October, November. I'm really not sure if that is the case, but some ministries have a fixed pattern. You can like create, write it in some diary or something, that because this is something that I did when I was applying to government internship, that this ministry opens the internships during this time, so I need to keep myself updated, and have when that time came, I would keep on refreshing the portal and see if the opportunity is posted or not. Then you have your National Human Rights Commission, which uh, opens internship every 2 months, I believe. So again, I had made it a note of it in my, the pointers that I was keeping with me, that the next one would be sometime around this time, this month, and I need to check the portal at that time. So you need to make that extra effort if you want to land these roles, right? And with respect to government internship, so basically it's majorly on the portal itself, or like the website of the ministry, and then you also have these WhatsApp, Telegram groups where updates are regularly posted in case some opportunity is has been posted. So you can always join these groups to stay updated. And again, there's the Ministry of Culture and Tourism internship, which is exclusively managed by Manthan. It's a public policy organization. So again, these are some of the agencies and areas that you need to check regularly in the government internship arena. For the parliament internship, majorly the internship opportunity is posted on LinkedIn itself, and it is posted either by the personal assistant of the MP or the LAMP fellows. So those who do not know what LAMP is here, it's basically a legislative assistant program started by PRS Legislative, wherein you're attached to a certain MP's office and you work as that MP's legislative assistant, assisting them with all of their work like speeches, communications, PR, everything and anything. So these internship opportunities are posted either by the PA or the LAMP fellows, and you need to start connecting with these people on LinkedIn, follow them there. In case you do not see any opportunity being posted, you can always, contact them, have conversation with them. That in case there's a vacancy or you need intern for a certain session, you can definitely consider me. So this is how you go about it. Majorly for parliament internships, the openings are somewhere around 1 to 2 months before a session. So there are conventionally three sessions of parliament that goes on: the monsoon, winter, and the budget session. Right. So the dates are announced at least 1 or 2 months before the beginning of the session. So again, take that, make that extra effort there, and Google when the parliament is coming into session. And once you're like sure that, let's say, 21st of July the monsoon session will begin, and by this time a lot of MPs have started onboarding interns in their offices. So once you're like sure that this is the date and this session is about to start, you can either start sourcing these opportunities by talking to the PAs or the LAMP fellows who are working in a certain MP's office, or you can always I mean, I wouldn't suggest doom scroll on LinkedIn for this, but again, follow relevant people who are posting all of these opportunities. Because I personally did this only. I had started connecting with people who are actively involved in this field and have been working there for quite some time, and I've been through their profiles also. So I did see that some of them had already posted these Google forms to fill in for the internship. So I started connecting with them, interacting with them. And that is how I actually got my first internship opportunity in like the MP's office. So yeah, this is how you go about it for both the government and the parliamentary internship. This is basically point number one, that where you need to look for the opportunities, to look for in the right places. Again, so second would be how to go about how to approach the whole application process. So when you're applying through a Google form, and I'm talking about the parliament internship first. So when you're applying through a Google form, there are two, three things that are asked of you. First is your CV. Then it can be a writing sample also, and sometimes if it's the demand of the office, you might be asked to write a policy brief on the specific constituency of the MP. So that is something that you need to really, really put all of your brains into it, because CV, again, like if I have to talk about a CV in particular, you need to keep it very professional, keep it crisp within 2 pages. It shouldn't be more than 2 pages. And do not go for templates that are available online. I think Google Docs does the work really fine. In fact, even my CV I created on Google Docs only, so it appears very clean and professional. You can have a brief, like professional summary at the top. Then you can have your educational experience. So let's say you're a UG student, so you can have your college there and maybe your 12th marks. And if you're a master's student, then you can have your master's institution and your this your bachelor's college. So you need not put your 10th or 12th marks, because these are something which is, I don't think, is required there. Hardly anyone sees it. I mean, if it's necessarily asked by the office, then you include it. But I think having just two educational experience there on top is, I think that would suffice. Then comes your internship or work experience. So keep it short. I mean, if you have done like 2 or 3 internships, which you feel are the best ones that you have done, you add those. You do not need to have like 6, 7 internship experiences to be eligible to apply to these opportunities. If you have let's say 2 internship experience, but the best ones are that, let's say you worked with something tank or an NGO where it is visible that you have gained certain experience and you're coming with a certain skill set and capability. I think that is enough. Again, the way you write the description of your internship experience needs to be a bit tailored. So do quantify it. Let's say you worked with some like social media aspect or something like communications and PR, if I have to put it that way, then you can certainly mention that I increased the visibility by this percentage, or if you have written research paper within the organization or have published some articles, you can mention I published these many articles, worked on these many um, research papers. I became a core like an sort of an expert in this area because I researched so much on this. So again, you can I mean take help from chat gpt also in this case. So try to tailor it as much as you can and showcase the sort of achievements that you've had there. So your internship experience section works like that, and then you can have a position of responsibility section also if you are, been like a general secretary in your department or the president, or have been a position holder within a society of your college. So you can add that. But a note of caution here that if you've been like a member of a society or a forum, please do not add that as your work experience, because it doesn't look professional and doesn't look really nice. And then you have your CV becomes so big that it is touching 3 or 4 pages. I mean, this is something that my mentor also told me, that even if you've been a member of a society or a forum, that is not a work experience in in the sense that what is required of you for the sort of opportunity you're applying for. So maybe you can cut down on the membership wala part. And then again, you can also have your publications and projects section separately. If you have a published article or a research paper, or you have worked on a project, you can certainly mention that as well. Some people also add hobbies in it. So that is another thing that you need to cut down on, and maybe also have a skills section there. So these are, 3, 4 areas, major things that you need to cover in your CV, and maybe you can run the ATS wala thing on it. So I'm not sure what it is exactly called, but again, you can do that and see if what you have written down in it is something which is legible. So CV and resume portion works like that. So the next thing is the SOP, the statement of purpose, and sometimes it comes in as the cover letter within your Google form as well when you're applying for the parliamentary internship. So within your SOP, there are certain things that you need to follow. The first portion would be the person that you're addressing your cover letter to. So again, be very careful with to whom you're addressing it. If it's the MP, mention their name. If it's, let's say, you're applying to Niti Aayog, if you're directly approaching the program director, address the SOP to that person. So that is the first thing. Then you move on to give a brief introduction of yourself, wherein you mention the college year that you're in and your college. Also, when it comes to the parliamentary internship, you can always mention the duration of the internship within the first paragraph itself. So, let's say you want to intern there for 2 months or 4 months, 6 months. So, you can mention that in the first paragraph itself that you are seeking a 2 month internship or a 6 month internship. You can also mention the month that you want to start working. So that is how you begin with your SOP in the first paragraph. The second paragraph consists of the majority of part of your SOP. So you first mention your previous internship experience that you have interned to this with this think tank or this NGO, this organization, and also mention the sort of skill that you might have acquired there. Other than mentioning the skills that you have acquired, you also mention how these would help you become a part of the MP's team and how these skills will be beneficial to the MP's work. What can you bring to the table for them, right? And then also mention that apart from how you can be useful to them, how can this internship be useful to you in return? So what are your career goals after this, and how will this internship be a push towards that direction? So you can mention that. I mean, I'd say you should mention it because that makes your application stand out. Another thing that makes your application, your SOP or cover letter stand out is the sort of background research that you have done on it. So if I talk about the parliamentary internship, if you're applying to some XYZ MP's office, maybe check the constituency that he comes from and the sort of work that he has done there, and you can always mention that. So I'll give another personal example here. I had applied to some MLA's office, and Mr. Durgesh Pathak. So he is the MLA from Rajendra Nagar, and Rajendra Nagar, we know, is the hub of UPSC aspirants. And I in my SOP had mentioned how I bring a student perspective, um, how I will be able to bring a student perspective to his work there, and how can that be a leverage? And since Rajendra Nagar is a hub, there's security issue and a lot of things that goes on. So I had personalized and tailored the application in such a way that it helped the receiver know that I'm actually interested in it and I've done my homework, and B, how that internship is again helping me as an individual. So these are the two things that you need to work on with the MP. Also, maybe mention their constituency and the sort of work that they've done there, and how can you add to it. That's the whole point. How can you be of use to them, and then maybe also mention how that can help you in return. So that would be the second paragraph, and third paragraph is just you asking for a discussion or a meeting on the same, and that you have attached your resume in the mail itself, or um, the Google form itself. Uh, then the third portion is the writing sample or the policy brief that comes in. So sometimes the topic is already given to you that you have to write on such and such thing. In case the topic is not given, I always suggest that I mean, I haven't come across any who isn't following the current affairs that is going on around us. And if you are actually trying to get into the policies field and haven't started reading the newspaper, I highly encourage you that you start taking interest in what is going around you. And since a lot of things are going around us, you can easily pick out one issue and start reading more on it, researching more on it, um, its background, the history of it all, how the issue came into play, and then maybe suggest, maybe write down what the government is trying to do in this scenario, both the pros and cons of it, and maybe suggest your own recommendations for the same. So this is like a normal writing sample is how is done. If it's like a policy article or a policy research aspect, so again you can start with the history of the said policy, why it came into play, who is the target audience of this policy, who is it trying to like, what is the intended impact of it, and both the pros and cons of it, who is bringing it, yada yada, and maybe suggest your own ideas to it, because then it sort of gives an impression to your recruiter that you have not only done your research on the whole policy, but you have your own insights and perspective to it. And that sort of acts as an added advantage here. So these are some of the things, and taking that extra step in this direction. CV, the cover letter, everyone does it. But what are you doing which is unique to you? And what is making you stand out? So these are some of the little things that make your application stand out in front of the recruiter. So yes, for the government internship, again, if you're applying through the portal, you need to submit some documents, which is already mentioned there. But if you're not applying through that, and let's say you're trying to intern with Niti Aayog, then again you follow the similar format only. For Niti Aayog, there's like two approaches. You either cold mail the vertical you want to intern in. You cold mail the program director or the higher ups there that like this is my application number. But you first need to apply on the portal, and then you move on to start cold mailing the people there. So you attach your application also there, and your application number, and like draft a cold mail which has a similar format to the parliament one. And again, why do you want to work in that vertical? What is, and maybe if you could pitch in your project there itself, that might help you stand out that this person wants to work in this field, and she has a set idea. And may like if she comes in as an intern, maybe we can take it forward. So that is another thing. The second approach to Niti Aayog is referral. So again, networking. You do it on LinkedIn, go to these events, start attending webinars, sessions. You have a lot of conferences that are organized. So one of the most amazing networking opportunities that I personally feel is the Raisina Dialogue, which happens every year around February, March. So that is another area, because a lot of young students, professionals come there to interact and converse with each other, and you never know, somebody might help you out with your application or might put in a good word for you. So again, these are some of the things that goes on when you're applying for government and the parliamentary internships.
What kind of work actually happens in parliamentaries or ministries?
Okay, so since Parliament, the legislative work is my niche currently. Um, so during the sessions, I assist them primarily with their drafting the starred, unstarred questions. So starred questions are the ones that require a oral reply from the minister, and the unstarred one is that requires a written reply. And then I also help them with their matters under 377, the 0 hour notice, etc. Sometimes when I'm, because I've majorly worked with private members, so we also draft private members' bill. Although it's a very hassle getting it passed through the ballot, because it is a lottery system that goes on there. But then again, you do a lot of research, and a lot of groundwork also goes in to understand and make it more inclusive. So that is what we majorly work on. In my personal capacity, like when I work with them, I also, apart from the legislative research, I also help with the PR and communications, public relations and communication. So like interact with the stakeholders, the constituency stakeholders, between my MPs and some other MP's office. So that whole communication channel goes, like I am a part of it. So yes, this is majorly what I do during the session, like the session that goes on. Um, During session also you get a chance to visit the new parliament building. So you assist the MP there, and sometimes you get to interact with all the other MPs that are there. I remember when I first went to the parliament, I had the chance to meet Mr. Nitin Gadkari. I also met Rahul Gandhi. I also had the chance to uh, meet, S.J. Shankar was also there, Mr. S.J. Shankar was there. So, you get to interact with a lot of people there and meet the dignitaries there. And it's like, I just cannot describe that feeling at all. But during the session, it's like that. And it's very, very hectic because working in the parliament in this area is very hectic. It's very, very fast paced, and you will not stick to one role. Someday you might be drafting a speech or let's say some question, and the other day you might be running around being a point of contact for the MP's office with some stakeholder. There can be times when you might be asked to write a speech at 10 at night. I've been there, I've done that. That is what happens during the session. It is very, very fast paced, and you need to like be this quick in all of your work. When it is a recess, let's say between the time between one session and the other, it's a bit chiller in the sense that you are majorly focused on, the MP start visiting their constituencies or move on to attend some event or a seminar, because MPs get called in as chief guests or as speakers. So you assist them there, help with their PR communication. So that happens during the recess. Majorly at the end of the day, they are politicians, right? So their visibility on social media, so that is what you handle. And also, that is also the time when interns come in. So we engage them in writing and curating and compiling all the questions that we can use during the session. So I remember last winter session, we had compiled around 80 to 90 questions, and then we started sending it to the ballot during the winter session. And that was the first time that I was working there, and had got more than 10 questions asked on the floor of the House. So, again, the crux of public policy and this field that you're trying to enter boils down to this only. The moment I found from my supervisor that, the question that you drafted has been asked by the MP on the floor of the House, and since it was directed to some minister, let's say the environment minister, and he answered it. And sometimes it also gets broadcasted on YouTube, also on the Sunset TV channel. And you actually see a question being asked there, and the minister is answering them. I think it's an infallible feeling. I just cannot describe it at all. You feel the sense of accomplishment, a sense of satisfaction that yes, I am also albeit small, but a part of bringing that change and being a part of the whole governance structure. So yeah, this is all that I do during the session and during the recess.
So, one of the last questions that I have from you is that how can someone start building a very strong profile, public policy profile that will actually get them noticeable?
Right. So you can, first things first, try start with your experience section as well as the about section on LinkedIn. About section needs to include you as a person, like the sort of skills you possess and the sort of area you are interested in. And if you're open to pursuing these roles, then you can obviously mention it within that about section that you're open to connecting with people with similar interests, or open to pursuing roles and positions which are within your interested field. Within the experience section also, so if you go on my profile, I have put in pointers under each work experience. So I usually use A, B, C. I point it out like that, and I mention anything and everything that I have done within that capacity. So if your future recruiter is seeing it, they go through all of these things and actually get an idea of what you are capable of and what you can do for them. So these you can do that within your experience section. There's a recommendation section available on LinkedIn wherein you can get somebody to write you a recommendation. So again, you can ask your superiors, like your mentors, people you have worked with, to write you a recommendation on LinkedIn, because these things feel very superficial and small at first, but they do help you in the long run, right? And major thing that you start writing on LinkedIn. This was a problem with me also, because I was not sure what to write on LinkedIn, or if I'll ever be able to find my niche. I still haven't, because I keep on experimenting with whatever I want to write there. But I mean, content and inspiration can be found everywhere. You intern with some NGO or a think tank, write about your experience there. Maybe write about how you approach the application process, the sort of learnings you got from it, etc., etc. Maybe write about your college experience. Let's say I give your example, you've started the podcast, right? So you can mention what was your inspiration behind it. Then the next post can certainly be around this area only, that people who want to explore this industry, how can they do it? Maybe the third post can be something with a hook line that you're just 19 or 20, and you have your own podcast with you, and what how is it going so far. So content and inspiration is always there. You just need to keep an open mind and start experimenting with it, because your recruiter is all, I mean, sometimes they do, like, go through your CV, but then they also go through your LinkedIn. I was recently recruited by Manthan for their PR and communication, and they recruited me directly from my profile only, because I had pitched myself. I do have a post on my profile that why I am the next best pick for a policy related role. And a day after that, I received a message from the founder himself. So this is how you put yourself out there, and please do not shy away from writing and feel that I do not have anything to talk about. You do have a lot of things to talk about. You go on talking about your day, your experiences with your friends. It's just the same, but doing it on a platform, right? Tailor it a bit. Write, um, write a lot. I would say ChatGPT is always there to edit it out. I wouldn't suggest using it too much, because then it kills your creativity. But initially, you can always, polish it a bit and maybe start experimenting with. So you just need to break that initial inertia. And once it gets into a momentum, I'm pretty sure you're going to enjoy it thoroughly.
Thank you so much, Sejal, for joining us today. I had a lovely time talking to you. I believe that anyone who has listened to this whole episode, they will be benefiting from it. If you do believe that you have gained some kind of real insights, and if you have understood or have better clarity after listening to this whole episode, then please do like, share, and subscribe, guys. And I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.